Hey, what's up, listener? Thanks for pressing play. This week on the Jock and Nerd podcast, we discuss the reports regarding the reshoots and changes to the ending of Fox's Dark Phoenix movie and why it's failed to make us excited to go see it. But we're going to go see it anyway.
Wowie zowie!
The HBO Game of Thrones documentary reveals many interesting facts about the final season, and we highlight some new TV comic book shows to check out in June, plus a full spoiler review of Godzilla, King of the Monsters. All in this edition of the Jock and Nerd Weekly for Friday, May 31st, 2019.
This is Norm MacDonald, and you're listening to the, hang on, I got it here. It says, the Jock and Nerd Podcast, known for their series of gay erotica found on Amazon, No? That's not that? Oh. Well, I fucked that up, I guess.
Check one. All right. This is really fans out there. Let's give it up. We jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert. Oh yeah. We jock it, we nerd it. We funny, disturb it. Oh yeah. We jock it, we nerd it. We spoiler alert.
Hello, listener. What's up? How's it hanging? Thanks for joining us this week, and welcome to the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
And that peppy puppet in the corner, it's our very own Rugzilla. What's up, Rugboy?
What's Jablin's, Jables?
What's up, Joblin? Jobin?
What the?
I just stole Jack Black's intro line.
Oh, is that what he does?
Have you watched Jack Black's YouTube channel?
No, I have not.
The greatest thing on earth.
Really? What is he doing?
It's just him being Jack Black in his house with his kids. It's just like him, like, showing you his underwear and stuff. It's ridiculous.
Sounds amazing. I thought you were doing the Paul Rudd thing.
Sounds amazing.
From that movie with,
the Paul. Hey there,
Did
Jobin.
you see the, Game of Thrones, the day before Game of Thrones, he put out, like, a thing of him, doing the Game of Thrones theme song where he does, like, all the parts, like, and he mixes it together?
Who, Jack Black?
Yeah.
Really?
Like, he does it a cappella.
Oh,
and then
yes.
he makes a video with it with him in front of the Godzilla thing in the Cinerama in California.
Jesus.
And he's running around. It's just hilarious.
There's a lot of covers of, like, metal covers of the Game of Thrones songs, videos that I've been enjoying. There's one with, like, Tom Morello and a whole bunch of guitarists from, like, metal bands and one of the creators of the show, like, rocking out doing the Game of Thrones song on electric guitars. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're going to be talking about the legendary King Godzilla, but let's warm up first with some geek news. Here it is.
The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
So, you guys, the next superhero movie that's actually coming out, it's be coming out this week, June
Holy
7th.
shit.
Yes. It is the last of two Fox X-Men movies. I'm talking about Dark Phoenix.
Oh, shit.
Yes, still coming out after multiple.
That's this week?
That's June 7th, when the week this show posts. Yeah, it's going by pretty quickly.
So the week after Godzilla comes out,
correct.
The next weekend is going to be the last X-Men movie.
Yep, Godzilla has 1 week to make the monies. Well, more than 1 week, but it's a busy summer, as summers tend to be. But look, this movie, multiple delays. And then reports of extensive and expensive reshoots.
Oh, shit.
I heard that the reshoots were supposed to be 3 weeks, and it ended up being 3 months, which is very extensive. And there's a bunch of articles I have that kind of have some details in the background. Don't make me hopeful for this movie. Before I get to that, what is our excitement level here, you guys, at Dark Phoenix, Simon Kinberg's debut as a director? With Sansa Stark.
On a scale of 1 to 10?
Is anybody, how excited or not excited are you for this, Rugs?
Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, it'd be a 4?
Wow, that's pretty low. Anthony, give it a number.
Jeez, I'd have to say almost like a 2.
Yeah, you forgot this thing was coming out.
I am not even at all, like, there's no emotion running through. I'm almost, for me, it's like, oh, fuck, I have to go see this?
Yeah, we were watching the trailer for Godzilla. We're like, by the way, we got to watch this piece of shit, like, soon. It's coming out. You know, the sad thing being, this will be the last time you see any of this gang playing these characters. Like, much like Game of Thrones, that's it. It's probably done for all.
Let's not go that far.
Well, I'm not comparing it to, I'm just saying.
Okay.
You know, Sophie Turner gets to play Sansa one last time. She's playing Jean Grey for whatever it's worth one last time. So, yeah, my excitement is also like, let's just get this done with and get it over with.
Like you say that one last time, this is her second movie playing.
Yes, it's not like she's been playing it. But like,
although this is the last time for Jennifer Lawrence, maybe, and Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy, who are all very good in their roles.
And the end of an almost 20-year Fox X-Men franchise that did give us incredible movies like Logan, which I think they should have just ended with Logan. Because really, once Wolverine's gone, who the fuck cares about the rest of these people?
Yeah.
And it was a great ending. That was a great movie. It would have been great to go out. But then they gave us Apocalypse. And hopefully this is not as bad as Apocalypse. So, news came out a few weeks ago. They changed the ending that it was going to be in space, which is, you know, if you're making a Dark Phoenix movie and you've read the comic books, there's a big space aspect. You want the movie to be in space for a certain amount of time. But apparently they changed the climactic ending from space onto the train, which you see in the fucking trailer. So it's quite
nice.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Quite a downgrade. And James McAvoy, in an interview with Yahoo UK, kind of let out why it changed in his opinion. He said his penis said, actually he wasn't there, the penis was being interviewed, it's detachable. McAvoy said the end changed a hell of a lot. The finale had to change. There was a lot of overlap and parallels with another superhero movie that came out a while ago, and we had no idea that we were, at which point Michael Fassbender interjects and said they had spies on set and basically stole our ideas.
Oh, Captain Marvel.
Do you think that's what I was going to ask? What do you think? What movie you think he's talking about? I think possibly.
It's obviously Captain Marvel because it opened in the same summer and it would be too fresh to use it. And it's obviously about a girl who's harnessing all of her powers.
Cosmic energies and aliens. But one can argue this movie has been done. Like, I believe it was screened in March of 2018. They probably had this ending in place before Captain Marvel. But with all the setbacks and trying to get, when she wasn't shooting Game of Thrones, I guess, to get her back on the set to do this, they had to change a lot of things. Anthony, does this make you any more confident in this movie?
No.
No, right? This is never a good sign, is it?
I'm not confident at all.
Sounds like horrible news.
I'm not confident at all in this movie.
That's never good when you have to react like that. And the producer even said,
what movie are we talking about?
Exactly. It's called Dark Phoenix. Phoenix. X-Men producer Hutch Parker said there was more of a cosmic story. The story ended in space in a much more significant way. We actually shifted that back to be on Earth, most notably so that we can involve our main characters and see them come together. It sounds like there was shit going on up there, and then the rest of the characters were down here, and they're like, wait a minute, how's anybody going to know what's going on over there? And they want this family plot, lot of interesting tidbits. And then following that, this is what I think, this really kills it. Basically, if you've read the Dark Phoenix story, you know that it involves the Hellfire Club and aliens, and a character named Lalandra, who's part of the Shi'ar. Well, don't expect any of that in this movie.
It's the root of this, and I've talked about this before, and when I did my spinoff show, me and David Taylor II agreed. You can't do the Dark Phoenix. I mean, the Dark Phoenix is years and years of build-up.
Yep.
To throw this in with this new cast, the second film, it's not gonna capture the essence of what that storyline was.
Can you still pull it off by streamlining it and making it all about like family and Jean Grey and shit?
What?
You can if you made it into a trilogy, you could build it. Yes,
you could maybe do it in the third. But we didn't even spend enough time with these characters in X-Men Apocalypse to even care.
Barely. And the scenes that got cut out were like scenes of them hanging out and shit, which would have been great to get some character. But Simon Kinberg, this is his first time directing a movie. He's been producing X-Men movies. This is his directorial debut. He's like, if I had 4 hours to tell the story, I would have included the Hellfire Club. But even though he loves those, he says all of those felt like they were going to start to compete with the main story of Jean and her emotional crack-up and the breakup of the X-Men family. And I don't want to draw away from that main emotional through line. Sure, I guess. What I don't understand is, like, in the trailer, it looks like she gets the powers in that accident when they go to rescue some NASA astronauts. But didn't they already show us that she had the fucking Phoenix power in the last movie?
Yeah, she had the potential in her or something in the last film.
There was some kind of Phoenixy thing that came out.
Right.
What
that's
about that?
That's how they beat Apocalypse.
That's right. At the very end, the MacGuffin comes out and stops all the floaty shit in the air where he's just kind of floating there and doing nothing. It's a great movie, Apocalypse.
I haven't seen it since it came out.
I don't think it's worth watching again. And we will eventually, we will review this movie for you, listener.
Yeah.
And,
well, you know what? We'll review the predecessor to Apocalypse.
Which
you know
is?
What that was?
What was that?
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Oh, definitely. We got
Ivan Ooze.
That's right. A stolen concept design used in
That might go on Patreon, though.
Apocalypse.
Was that Keithan?
Keithan Denkinger's Patreon pick is 1995's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This time a movie I haven't seen, but Anthony has seen. So this should be
Multiple
interesting.
times.
Oh my God. It's a reverse. This is a reverse of what the tier is for. So I mentioned this, the first of two X-Men movies that Fox still had. The other one being Josh Boone's New Mutants. That stars Arya Stark.
Yes, the area.
The area.
Is that ever going to come out?
Well, yes. Now, here's the interesting question. Let me pose to you. Disney just confirmed that they are going. Once they absorbed Fox and they bought Fox, this movie is pretty much done. They are going to do reshoots. Disney's got to put in money to do reshoots on that movie this year, and it has a new release date. They are still planning to release New Mutants, the horror X-Men movie. So it's that's funny. The quote is from Kinberg, and he kind of does a dig at Fox while explaining Disney's going to reshoot it. He says, for all of these movies, Marvel's really brilliant at scheduling pickups into their budget and schedule. So it's all prepared, and we have never been that smart. For us, we're always scrambling to get these actors back together so they're all in the same place at the same time. Holy shit. He's pretty much saying that Fox is just a fucking logistical clusterfuck, and Feige is God, and they do everything right, which we knew that for the most part.
Management.
I think that's interesting. Now, here's the question. You could have, if you were Disney, you could have just dumped this on Hulu now and called it a day and, wrote it off, whatever. Instead, they are putting more money to try to get, Maisie Williams' schedule is probably open now. What is she doing? Game of Thrones is done. They're going to get all these people back and do reshoots and put money in, hoping for a return. Sounds risky, sounds ballsy. I hope it works. What do you guys think? Will this work, or should they just put it out and moved on?
I think that New Mutants is kind of more up for grabs than X-Men. X-Men's very specific.
That's true.
And they want to do something specific with it. I think that New Mutants is a little bit more loosey-goosey. So it may be a way for Disney to kind of like put their little spin on it and get it into their universe.
Anthony, what would you like it if the reshoots actually tried to tie it into the MCU?
No. I don't know. It depends how good the film is, but
right.
I think what Disney's doing, or I don't know, who knows who's completely pulling strings? I guess it's Disney. I think what they're doing is obviously they want to return, but I also think they're just trying to see, and I could be completely wrong when this comes out, but I think they're trying to see if they lean into this horror aspect.
Yeah.
Let's just see. Let's see how it goes. Let's see if this is a new kind of avenue for us to take our superhero films.
It could be something real. The movie sounded really different and a nice fresh take on
it's their little experiment.
But for them to actually take more time and add more money, I feel like they have pretty high hopes, and they think they can turn this around.
They might have something there.
They must have seen it already.
No, yeah, this movie's been done for like 2 years, from what I heard. It's been.
Oh yeah, they've seen it already.
Yeah, there was a trailer. Remember?
So they think that there's something to it. Then if they're putting money into it.
So the New Mutants may be the final Fox X-Men movie, and then at which point you give it a rest, and then you restart it. And I'm sure Kevin Feige has ideas because he worked on the first X-Men movie under producer Lauren Schuler Donner. And I bet even back then he was like, you know what I would do if I could make an X-Men movie. And I have faith that he'll bring something good. But until then, we have 2 more X-Men movies. One coming out real soon. Listener, let us know what you think. Join the conversation. Join our awesome Facebook group. It's called the Jock and Nerd Nation. You can find a link in the show notes and on our website. It's a closed group just for you, listener. You can meet all our fun, awesome, crazy, funny, witty, ball-breaking listeners. They're all degenerates, and I love them all. It is now 400 members strong.
Jock and Nerd.
Whoa.
This group, and I know that's not big. There are giant thousands.
It's a private group, though.
It's a private group and we've built it to 400 people. Everyone's been adding their friends. It's been fantastic. Special shout out, welcome to one new member. Kathy Rumsey joined this week. Kathy is none other than the Jock and Nerd Podcast official science advisor, Adam Morris's mom.
Oh, shit.
Joining.
Dr. Adam Morris.
Dr. Adam Morris, PhD. It's his mom. And I believe she joined on her own because the comment from Adam when I welcomed her was, Christ, how did this happen? To which Kathy had the best response. She's like, I saw a link and I clicked it. I thought you were smart. I was like, damn, she fucking told you. Kathy, if you're listening, your son is very smart. You raised a wonderful lad. She's listened to the pods, I believe, the shows with that. Yes, I think she said that. So she probably listened to your spinoff show and then the time she's been on with us. Hi, Adam's mom. I love that Adam's mom listens. We had another listener's mom listen. I forgot who that was. I love when
get your mom to join.
This is for
your mom too.
Get your fucking family around. I love this family show where we swear and make dick jokes, but it's for the family.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you want. All right, moving on. I guess we'll follow up last week's discussion. It is official. Pattinson is now a thing. Our Bats, Robert Pattinson, goes from vampire back to bat. And he's officially the new Batman. I guess they were testing him out in the suit. Wanted to make sure it fit or something.
Yeah, it's gonna be an adjustment period for me to get used to this idea, but whatever.
I saw another fan art that put him in the cowl, and man, he's got a great bottom part of the face. Like this looks it looks like Batman. Movie scheduled to be released June 25th, 2021. So they're going to have to start writing and shooting this thing soon. And Matt Reeves also confirmed it's a trilogy, people.
Oh, shit.
They're going to sign him on for 3 movies. It will be a trilogy. And apparently there's going to be a shitload of villains. And I just saw another article from Forbes. This guy had inside source, possibly even a Robin.
Oh, shit.
In this movie with all these rogue villains. So that'll be fun. I don't know which Robin. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we already talked about it last week. There's not much more to add.
Now, just get used to Pattinson. Pattinson is coming. I personally think he'll do all right. I trust Matt Reeves. The other thing that's a follow-up from a couple episodes, Game of Thrones ended. Rugs, you being the guy watched Game of Thrones since the beginning, since 2011. Now that it's over, do you feel empty? Do you miss it? Are you enjoying this break from Game of Thrones?
I watched the documentary that came out.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about this documentary. It's very good. It's called The Last Watch.
Yeah.
And the filmmaker started documenting the whole season 8 from the first opening script reads to production to the last episode. To
Imagine if the season would have been really good. This documentary would have been much more coveted to watch.
I'll tell you what, though. This documentary made me appreciate the season a little bit more.
Okay, fine, fair.
Well, they put a lot of work into it, and the people who wrote it just screwed all that work up.
They did. They just kind of screwed the pooch on the writing. But listen, you see them building the sets. You see the extras. That I've never seen a TV show filmed with this scale of production. Like, it is like Lord of the Rings shooting 3 movies.
Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings. It's like shooting 3 movies in a row.
Let me interject.
Yeah.
Not to be a huge dick, but I'm going to be a little bit of a dick.
Okay.
How many TV productions have you watched?
I'm just saying, I don't think I've seen I'm none, but
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that like everything is like this harrowing all the time.
I don't think anything can be like what
I don't
they
think
show.
I don't think they're all like this, but I think you'd be surprised that there's a lot of work in a lot of TV
like
shows.
anything with a location and that things with sets that have to be built in the cold.
Multiple locations,
Yeah.
and then the thing that set this apart this season was this long ass night shoot. It was like, she was like, I believe this is the longest time a TV has shot at night. So they shot at night for so long that it just was, it was taxing. It was tiring. I share a couple of tidbits. There was a couple of fun tidbits. Like direwolves can run as fast as 30 miles an hour. So
Right.
if you were wondering, that's how fast they can run. There was a great bit on this extra Andrew
That was my
played.
favorite part, actually.
Yeah, this guy played a start guard for 5 seasons, and he gets a couple of scenes where you see him, where they freeze frame on him, and at the end, he finds out that he's in the last episode. So in the last episode, where John is talking to Grey Worm at the beginning when they're killing the spoilers, by the way,
Spoiler
where
alert.
they're killing the Lannister army, he's one of the guys like right behind him, but. He, like, his love for this show and how much he loved being an extra, you see it in there. And he brought up a good point that the extras were like a character in the show. The shots of the background guys that they would use, these haggard faces with beards, like it helped to complete. They were definitely a main character on the show.
They're part of the story.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. They don't need to have lines, but it's just this look on their face.
If you have nobody there, it doesn't
Yeah.
look like there's anybody there. And they need people to create the illusion, of course. They're
But
important.
They pick good people, and I guess you couldn't shave while you're on the show because everyone has giant ass beards. Also, they built that whole King's Landing set and blew it up. Like the attention to detail, that whole street was an entire set, and it was fucking amazing. Another great bit, the cast wouldn't get their scripts until 3 days before the first season 8 table read. Kit Harington doesn't read his scripts beforehand. And you see in here when they get to the table read to the part where
that was all over the internet.
it was such a great moment where he finds out that Jon stabs Daenerys, and you see his reaction. You also see Varys like looking real pissed when they get to his death. Like, this is not the way it should go down. Like, none of this makes sense. He's got dagger eyes.
You know, let me comment on that. There's been a lot of people reading into reactions for like the cast saying like the cast was upset. I think people are just reading into things. I think now with hindsight, you're like, oh yeah, the cast really hated all of this. I think the cast was just being coy and they were reacting the way they like. I think people are reading too much into everyone was upset with how it turned out.
That was you could clearly tell it was a big part of their life, and they were a family and they supported each other.
No, I'm saying like there's a ton of stuff on the internet where they're going back and listing, like putting in videos, all the cast reactions to the end of this show. Like when people were asking them prior, oh, what did you think of the end? And they're like,
You can read into all that.
You got to make stuff up out of bullshit.
Yeah.
You just got to do it. That's what people do.
Another interesting thing about this documentary, our boy, the guy you heard for 6 weeks, Vladimir Furtik, the Night King himself, featured heavily.
Yes.
In this
That was
doc.
a great moment, too. We get to see him, the guy behind the voice.
Well,
He loves it.
What I didn't realize is he did a lot of the fight choreography, the fight between the Hound and the Mountain, a lot of the swordplay. He was like an active stunt
He's
coordinator.
like the main stunt dude.
Yeah, he's the main. And then there's a part where he's like, I get to act and I don't really know if I don't hang out with the actors. I feel I'm more home with the stunt people. And when I'm doing the acting, the stunt people like are giving me shit. And when I'm the stunt person, you see the actor. So he felt like he was in between, got to see both worlds, but he clearly had a blast being the fucking Night King.
He goes up to the credits. Do you know who I am?
Yeah. And they love him, and they're like, the Night King, and he's signing things. But him just sitting around with Bran, drinking coffee in the costume, hilarious.
During that documentary, all right?
Yeah.
When they have the Night King sitting outside waiting for that crowd, you hear the birds.
Oh, that's where the birds came from.
Imagine he recorded our thing
right before that.
Because if you listen to that part, trust me, go to the documentary.
Yeah.
Go to the part where he's sitting there waiting for the crowd. They're the same exact sounding birds as in our intro.
It's possible. She was filming this thing the whole time.
Maybe he was sitting there and he did our cameo and then went right there.
The mystery of the birds in our Night King audio has been solved. Last thing they did, which is crazy, was they would bring out other people, other actors and cast members to locations, even if they had nothing for them to film, to throw people off.
Right.
So if you were like watching them show up and you were in different locations, you couldn't. I think they even filmed fake shit with these people just to throw off people, because that's how. But it worked. They didn't stop the leaks. I believe each episode was leaked online like the day before it aired, but it stopped the early leaks. Great documentary, and it did.
I'll catch it. I'm still in the.
You need a break.
Yeah, I just need a break from Game of Thrones. I can't go into celebrating the show this soon.
I got a friend.
Yeah. You do? I don't believe it.
Yeah, you don't have to be fucking
talking to me about Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And he was actually gutted by the ending. Like, and I was like, man, people are really they really don't like this ending.
Like, was he gutted, disappointed, or gutted that it got him emotional?
No, it was disappointing.
He's like mad. He was mad.
Yeah. He was like, I can't believe that this is how it ends.
I'm just like, I'm at the point where I've had so many Game of Thrones talks with people, and everyone has their fucking opinion on it, that I'm just exhausted by it. I'm like,
yeah, I can see that.
You're done?
I'm done. I will maybe watch. I threw the documentary on the other day, and I was going to myself, I can't watch it. I'm done. I don't want to even think about Game of Thrones.
For me, the doc was a nice capper on just letting it, now it's done. And I love the behind the scenes shit. It had a lot of interesting things. Highly recommended on HBO. Next thing, we have a quick teaser for Jessica Jones season 3 on Netflix, the last Marvel Netflix show, and we actually have a date. There's a lot of shit coming out in June. This is one of them, June 14th. This teaser
that comes out in like 2 weeks.
Yes, there's so
Holy
much
fuck.
shit. Wait till I get to what comes out today. Just today. We're recording on May 31st. June is packed. The summer, the summer used to be the time of the year where you could catch up on shit that you missed in the fall and the winter. Oh, no more. That shit's all gone. It doesn't stop. You have to try and keep up. So, what'd you guys think of this new brief teaser? Doesn't show much. What did it show, Anthony? Did you watch it?
I did. I mean, it's just some guy saying Jessica Jones is a fraud and knocking on
that's
the door.
pretty much it. Knock on the door.
It's nothing. I liked Jessica Jones. Season 1 was really good. Season 2 was not that great, but I still thought it was fine. So I'll watch, but I'm not like super jazzed about this either.
I will complete it.
I will complete it as well.
Yes, you got to watch this is like that 12th season they've given us, and the first seasons have been better at these things. Some of the description I got from this article, it says a deranged sociopath who sees Jessica as a fraud has as the investigator set in his sights. While Trish is still around to provide her friend with some much needed backup, the would-be killer is much closer to accomplishing his goals than either two hero realizes. Now, remember what happened at the end of the second season? Wasn't Trish like going bad?
Yeah.
She's turning bad, so is she going to still be bad if she comes back? Oh, that's right.
She killed Jessica's mom.
That's right. That up in the
and she's going a little nuts.
Yeah. She's trying to become Hellcat.
She's very insecure about her status and was trying to become a superhero.
And where was Jessica at the end? She still had her agency had business finally, right? But she just lost her mom. That was a weird season. Let's see.
It was a very strange season.
It was a strange season. The first season's great. Let's see. Look, it'll be just a nice goodbye. But June 14th, that shit comes out. Now, I have this article. Listener, if you really need stuff to watch this summer, it's an extensive article from Cinema Blend, 2019 summer TV and streaming schedule. Premiere dates, day by day. There's so much shit coming out. Let me highlight two things that is starting today, May 31st. On Amazon, there is a series called Good Omens, which is based on a set of books by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, geek boner, of Sandman fame. And it's about an angel and a demon who must join forces to find a way to save the world as the end of time grows near with the approaching Armageddon. That old story. End of the world's coming. Gotta stop it. This novel came out in 1990. The show features David Tennant, Michael Sheen, John Hamm, Michael McKean, Miranda Richardson, Nick Offerman. And I saw a trailer. It looks kind of fun. Anybody, Ruggs, you interested in this at all?
I have not seen the trailer, but if it's Neil Gaiman, it could be interesting. I don't know. I might give it a spin, but I don't know. I have to see if it grabs me.
Good Omens. Anthony, anything for this one?
Nope.
No, you don't care about angels and demons?
No, I just don't care about streaming anything on Amazon.
There's some good shit on Amazon, though.
It's true.
I'm sure there is. My time is very limited to all this stuff.
You should watch Hana and Marvelous Mrs.
Actually,
Maisel.
I don't think I even have.
You don't have Amazon Prime? You should get Prime. You get a lot of shit. You get like the music. You get free shipping. You get all these fucking movies and videos.
Yeah. I had it for a little bit, but I don't have it.
The John Wicks are on Amazon. All right. Well,
both of them.
Yeah. Both of them. You can catch up. And then the other thing that starts today is Swamp Thing, episode 1, DC Universe. I put the trailer. They put out a new trailer in here.
Swamp Ass.
This one, an adaptation of the amazing dark DC character Swamp Thing. Their description centers on a CDC researcher, Abby Arcane, when she returns to her childhood home of Houma, Louisiana, in order to investigate a deadly swamp-borne virus. She develops a surprising bond with scientist Alec Holland, only to have him tragically taken from her. Now, if you read the comic, spoiler alert, Alec Holland turns into Swamp Thing. But its powerful forces descend on Houma, intent on exploiting the swamp's mysterious properties for their own purposes. Abby will discover that the swamp holds mystical secrets, and crazy shit happens. Produced by James Wan. If you watch this trailer, it's got a crazy, like, horror Louisiana bayou vibe. It's very different than the other shows. It looks cool. I've always loved Swamp Thing.
So it's like Swamp Thing. Yeah.
It's like Swamp Thing, which you can read a bunch of runs on the DC Universe app. They've added like 22,000 comics. You can
just in case you don't know, there's 2 Swamp Thing movies and 2 Swamp Thing TV shows, I think, before this. So there's a lot of Swamp Thing out there.
There was a cartoon too, briefly, but yeah, there was a 90s USA TV show. You guys gonna check this out? We should check out the pilot. This sounds it looks really good.
I'll watch the pilot.
Anthony, anything at all?
If you force me to watch the pilot, I'll watch the pilot.
I will force you. Let me tell you what, though. Doom Patrol
I've never been a big Swamp Thing guy, though.
Okay.
I tried reading the comics. I bought like maybe 5-10 issues. And it was fine. It's just like it wasn't all the mystical magic stuff wasn't my shtick.
I love that stuff. It was Vertigo, Swamp Thing, Animal Man, the whole thing with the avatars of the green and the rot and the red and the gray. It's fucking, they built like, just like Sandman, it builds this crazy world with the elements of life. And I hope it translates and I hope it do it well. Doom Patrol, now you can binge. 15 episodes done, season finale last week. Let me tell you something. I highly recommend Doom Patrol. I love this show. I
gotta finish it.
Dude, it was so
Me too. I gotta start it.
wacky.
I gotta continue it.
Continue it because it's not only weird and wacky and wonderful, but it's endearing and it has heart. It has relatable characters. It is a show that knows what it wanted to be, confident as hell, took a lot of chances. The season finale has probably one of the wackiest scenes I've ever seen. I can't tell you. You
I just
gotta
know
watch.
that Flex Mentallo's in it.
Flex Mentallo shows up towards the end, and it's really great. You really fall in love with all the main characters. An amazing version of Cyborg in this show. Great live action version of Cyborg. Every week I was like, I love this show. It's just so clever and so much fun and so weird and so unique. So I'd like to review it, get a deep dive into it if you guys catch up whenever.
Okay.
I'll get to it.
Okay.
You set a time for me to finish it by, and I'll do it.
All right. There's
Not
Jessica
now.
Jones, maybe by the end of the summer.
Yeah, you set a time frame for me to watch it, because I do want to watch it.
All right. I will update your Google Calendar, Anthony,
Sure.
remotely and send you push notifications.
Thank you.
I will push notifications in your face.
Allah bless.
Alhamdulillah. All right, look, let's take a quick break so we can play some promos and get to Godzilla. Here's a teaser.
Yes.
Right after this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
And welcome to the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast. I'm Sean.
And I'm Ian.
Hey, Ian.
Yeah.
Did you know you could find us on the Danger Entertainment Network?
Danger.
Danger Entertainment. That's right.
Sounds dangerous.
It is. It's a tad bit dangerous. You'd be shocked to find that out. There's a bunch of great podcasts you can find there. Our friends from the History of Bad Ideas podcast, Who to What Now, the Sodded Geek. No, they retired. That's right. They retired. But there are a bunch of other great podcasts you can find there, along with us. We're the Pittsburgh Nerd Podcast, and we do pop culture and chili cheese dogs and whatever else floats our fancy.
Yeah.
Check us out.
For sure.
For sure. We're on most podcatchers, so give us a look.
Peace.
Are you a fan of movies?
Or comics?
Or video games?
Or just anything else nerdy?
Well, you should check out the Zing This Podcast. And that's spelled
ZENG.
This. And you can find us every Monday. And we have nerdy topics from comic book reviews to in-depth analysis of iconic nerdy movies, as well as video game discussions.
Mm-hmm.
Where's some of the best places to find us, Allie?
Well, Podbean, of course.
You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play.
Anywhere else you listen to your podcast. Yeah.
So check us out. Once again, that is Zing This.
And
Listener, if you've been enjoying the show and you want to support, you want to give back, and you want more show, there's one thing and only one thing you could do, and it's to join our fan club, jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Type that in. It'll take you right to our Jock and Nerd Plus Patreon fan club. It's not plus. It's Jock and Nerd also, too. It's just more. You're going to get access to a bonus RSS podcast feed that includes all the shows that come out in this feed early. By the way, you guys, we put out 11 things this month in May. 11.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
On Patreon?
No, on the main fucking free feed.
Oh, yeah.
Alone. So there's a lot more on Patreon. You get all the shows, the spin-off show early, and bonus content, instant reactions, movie reviews, Jock Talks. Right now, I have to thank Jose Ibarra, listener, Patreon supporter. Just before we started recording, got an email saying Jose increased his support from $15 to $20.
Talking nerd.
Oh, shit.
Thank you, sir. I forget. I think on that tier, you get to come on the show and shit. I'll have to check again. It's been a while. But thank you, Jose, for your continued support. And thank you, everyone, on the Patreon.
Neat.
New this week is a movie review of John Wick 3 by myself and Ruggs. Right, Ruggs?
That's right.
We got to see that. We've seen a lot of movies, and it was very entertaining. Check out the review. But basically, it's a lot of shooting and punching and stabbing. You will like it. And then, Anthony, an emergency sports. Is this a Jock Talk with TJ Johnson?
Sort of,
Are
yeah.
you cheating now on him with Chaz? Why are you going to hurt poor Chaz?
Their bottom is very weak.
Caught in the middle of this, the fucking
Play the other one.
love triangle. Oh, this is thanks to Jason Dutch. Here's what TJ thinks of Tony.
Let me tell you about Tony, all right? Tony ruins lives.
It's pretty accurate, I think.
Pretty accurate, yeah.
Thanks for sending that in. We will definitely use that one.
Yeah, I'm just ruining lives. Yeah, no, it was a emergency Lakers talk. TJ is a big Lakers fan. I hit him up, and we just decided to do something right on the spot. I was literally on the shitter, texted him, hey, you want to come on and go on in like 20 minutes, 10 minutes? Yeah. All right, cool. There was a big article about the Lakers and their dysfunction. So
I listened to the beginning of it, and that article, like the amount of shit they're going through was crazy. I was like, wow, it sounds like a fucking mess over there.
Yeah, so we decided to talk about it. Hope you enjoy.
If you're into Jock content and the actual Jock content,
the only Jock content you'll get is on Patreon.
You got to pay for it. Sorry, but you'll be supporting the show.
You'll get it on the spin-off show sometimes.
That's right. But I just feel bad. Hopefully, Chaz, you can see other people too. I don't know. He's fucking cheating on. TJ's cheating with you. You're cheating on Chaz with him. I don't know what's going on. It's very.
Then I had a phone sex operator.
Then you did some phone sex. It was a three-way. There's all sorts of
shit.
Only on the Patreon, listener. You gotta sign up.
Yep.
jockandnerd.com/Patreon. Okay, let's get to the movie review. Godzilla King of Monsters. Here's your spoiler alert.
Strap yourselves in, you fucks. Spoiler time. Run! It's Godzilla!
I'm so glad I get to pull up all of my Godzilla clips again. I've been saving them. for every time we talk about Godzilla. You might hear Raymond Burr a little bit later. We'll see what happens. King of the Monsters is the sequel to the 2014 Gareth Edwards film Godzilla. And it is, I got this from Wiki, so you guys check me because you're the Godzilla fans. It's also the 35th film in the Godzilla franchise, the third film in Legendary's Monsterverse, and the third Godzilla film to be completely produced by a Hollywood studio.
I think that's all about right, yeah.
That's wild. So, Godzilla, he's almost 70, isn't he? It's almost been 70 years of Godzilla movies. Amazing. Who doesn't love those?
65 right now.
Yeah, so it's very long. It's the longest running thing ever.
It is like the OG shared universe, like up there with the Universal Monsters, right? This would be the second.
Yeah, it was the second, yeah.
But it's lasted longer, clearly, than now. On the Rotten Tomatoes, it's at 40%. But the hold on, let me get the average. Average rating 5.07 out of 10.
What about the audience?
So the audience score is 89%. Now, Rotten Tomatoes recently made a change to how it tallies and shows the audience score. They're doing something called verified audience reviews. And since Fandango owns Rotten Tomatoes, if you buy your tickets through Fandango and then leave a review, you are a verified audience member, and that score is promoted more. Now, you could still leave a review if you haven't seen the movie, if you haven't bought a ticket or proved you've seen the movie. I just think they're going to promote and show the verified audience scores more to kind of prevent trolls, I guess, which ultimately, if you really want to troll something and go buy tickets for it, you're helping the movie out either way, I guess.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good change. They're doing something.
So there's a big difference. It's almost a 90% score.
Yes.
From the verified people, not trolls.
Right. 89% versus 40% by critics. Now, look, this is a Godzilla movie, and this is one of those movies where I'm liking to say, fuck the critics.
Oh, shit.
Really, I'd rather know the audience score because this is a Godzilla movie for Godzilla fans. Box office-wise, the movie just came out. Well, it opens today. We're doing this very quickly. We all saw it on the Thursday it came out. So, it probably costs about $200 million to make, I'm estimating.
I'll go into the, it's going to, probably 200. But, so Thursday night previews, it made 6.3 million.
I guess that's pretty good, right? For previews?
Well, it's better than Kong Skull Island, 3.7 million.
Oh, that's interesting.
And Kong Skull Island had a 61 million debut, but what concerns me is this is 3 million behind the first Godzilla movie that came out on that Thursday.
Oh, really? The 2014, huh?
Yeah. So that first Godzilla made 93 mil, which had 9.3 million in previews. So my theory is I don't think this is going to do as well as it should. And I think those bad reviews are going to hurt it.
So they're estimating, projecting $60 to $65 million opening weekend, which is less than what
which is less than 93 million, which the first movie had.
Yeah, and the reviews are.
There's a lot of competition too.
Yes, it's a busy
summer.
Aladdin
open up last week.
Yes,
and so Aladdin's going to take the lion's share of because it did well.
Aladdin actually did surprisingly well. Right. This bad stink on the genie did not hurt the movie. It's already made more money than Dumbo.
You got Aladdin, right?
Yeah.
Then you got Ma that came out, this new horror movie that came out. And then you got Rocket Man, which is the biopic.
Taron Egerton as Elton John coming out the same time like Bohemian Rhapsody
came out. There's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
that Godzilla's competing with. Also, the next following week you have X-Men come out. So,
yes. Let's compare this though.
Yes.
So when Godzilla 2014 came out, it came out May 16th.
Aha.
Right?
Uh-huh.
May 16th, it came out. That while that was out, you had Amazing Spider-Man 2 out.
Oh, shit.
You had Neighbors out. And then the week after, funny enough, X-Men Days of Future Past comes out.
Oh, shit. Wow.
So, my point there is it had the same competition.
I feel like it's even more crowded, though, just now, even just 5 years
I'm just concerned. I don't think this is going to do very well in the box office.
So that
by the time this show releases, we'll know.
Yes, 2014 made $200 million gross overall. And
if it doesn't hit that, that's a huge disappointment.
What did Kong Skull Island make?
130.
Okay, so
I think it'll do well foreign. Like foreign, it'll do very well.
Well,
but
apparently
here-
it made 18 million in China, like opening day already. So
yeah, I think it'll
China,
do well
it's
foreign.
making the most money in China. They're gonna eat this up. All right, look, let's just get to opening thoughts of this movie. Maybe recap the plot a little bit, but this is why I'm glad you, Anthony and Rugboy, are here. Our Godzilla fans, our lifelong Godzilla experts.
Sure.
And like I said, I really don't give a shit on, in this case, what the critics think, because I kind of felt it was going to go this way. This movie is really for the fans, and as fans of Godzilla. Overall thoughts, Anthony, we saw this movie together, which is rare for us, but we had a chance to see it in IMAX, and it was a nice, big fucking screen.
Big screen.
What'd you think once the movie ended?
This movie is the definition for me of a mixed bag.
Okay.
I really was enjoying a lot of the monster stuff. I enjoyed the music. I enjoyed just the fact you can tell this guy is a Godzilla freak. Like
Directed by Michael Dougherty.
There's a lot of little nods that we can get into, but there's a lot of stuff where you're like, this guy watched his Godzilla movies.
Yeah.
Or the people creating this watched Godzilla movies. So they threw in a lot of good stuff. The human characters are really shitty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
When the story cuts to them, it is literally exposition.
And one-liners, throw in some one-liners. Exposition. One-liners. Yeah.
For me, Kyle Chandler's character was the worst. Because this guy literally gets picked up off the street and all of a sudden is the smartest guy in the room and starts running everything.
Yeah, he knows everything, doesn't he?
Knows everything.
Yeah.
Knows everything.
No, he should do it like this, military general.
Right. So, I mean, it's a mixed bag. So, overall, I was tickled to death to see some of the music and some of the fight scenes and seeing the reverence to pay to the characters. But I'm also kind of like, come on, we can do better. I know this is a Godzilla film, but we can do better. Let's make a good film overall. Let's just not be like, okay, it's a Godzilla film and focus on the monsters. Let's make an overall good film, and we still haven't hit that yet. So,
all right,
it's a mixed bag. There's things I enjoy and things I'm like, damn it.
Okay, Ruggs.
Yeah.
I'm very curious to hear your opening thoughts.
Well, okay, so I went in with the biggest thing, one of the biggest things, besides what Anthony, which I echo a lot of what Anthony says, like he's pretty much right on the money of his opinion on the film. The thing that really fucked it up for me was the trailers.
Yeah.
They gave everything away. So when you sat down and watched the movie, there was no surprises. Literally every money shot they used in the trailer.
I was afraid of that,
so
and that's what happened.
It sapped a little bit of the wow factor for me, and like getting to see some of these scenes. I seen them in the trailer already, and they're like old hat. So it's like the marketing. They had like a catch-22. Like they had to get people into the theater and show how awesome this movie is, but at the same time they blew their load.
Yeah.
And when you went there, you just kind of saw like I've seen this all in the trailers already.
Yep, just longer.
Just longer. So that was I think the biggest thing that affected my impact of seeing the movie. Not the story. I expected the story to suck balls.
Yeah.
I expected like it to be annoying exposition. I was like, I just want to see the fucking monsters fight. Now, to piggyback on top of that, Michael Dougherty obviously is a Godzilla fan.
Yeah.
He knows his kaiju. I just don't think he's as good a director as Gareth Evans.
Yes.
Or Edwards or whatever the fuck.
Is it Evans or Edward? I think it's Edward. Whatever.
I don't know. Let's roll the dice. You know.
No, but I agree. I agree with that sentiment. Yes.
I don't think he's as good a director.
No.
At action and figuring out how to place the camera.
No, yeah.
It was too frenetic. Like you're waiting for this big scene, and like yes, they're on screen, but you're seeing an elbow. Like you're seeing like you're not. And I think he was trying to do that to create scale.
Yeah.
Like it's so big they don't fit in it, but it was also like, okay, now there was a couple of moments that really just blew me away.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just like awesome. But to be honest with you, even though we only got like 8 minutes of Godzilla screen time, the quality of Godzilla 2014 is made even more evident of how good it is after you watch this movie.
Yeah, totally.
You're like, you see Godzilla in 2014, like take a breath and be tired.
Yeah.
You see him aware of his surroundings. You see him kind of motion. He had so much more personality and more like you can kind of connect with him in so many ways. In this movie, he's more of a prop, and you don't get to see things. Like, for example, let's go into spoilers right now. Do you mind, or do you want to take this somewhere? Because I'm in the middle of a thought process. They go and they show you the oxygen destroyer.
Right.
It's a major thing.
For non-Godzilla people, explain why it's so major.
Because in the first Godzilla movie, that's how they kill Godzilla. They use the oxygen destroyer.
54. So this is a callback, some fan service.
That, it's also the thing that brings back, creates Destroyer from the Heisei era, who then is in the film where Godzilla dies again. So it's a huge thing.
So
it's thrown in there very willy-nilly.
Yeah, kind of a throw.
Number one, it's thrown in there very willy-nilly.
And it doesn't work.
And it does.
And they end up killing Godzilla.
This is the point is, you have Ghidorah and Godzilla fighting in the water.
Yeah.
You don't really see it.
No.
And you don't really see what happens to them after the destroyer is. You don't see them fry and their skin get flayed and they go down to skeletons or something.
Yeah.
You don't see any of it.
No, you don't.
You just see a flash of light.
Yeah.
And so, like, a good director would know to show you that.
Well, you can tell he uses flashes of light in this movie to cover a lot of shit a lot of times.
He's really not showing you a lot.
Yeah.
Another thing is that, and I think that all the movies, other than the Japanese movies, don't really show you this, but when Godzilla uses his atomic ray, they don't really show you the damage it causes. It's kind of just like pushes people.
It was like a pulse that just emanated, but wouldn't it destroy everything around him?
I would just like to see a close up of Ghidorah, like with scales, like shooting out, like getting some damage at least.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's just like softly, he's playing shuffleboard with Ghidorah. Like
he's just pushing
him down a little bit and then he gets back up. Yeah. So it's like, it's not as impressive when it doesn't like actually do anything. So like when Godzilla uses his breath in the Japanese movie, there's fucking explosions and shit goes flying out of the, there's like debris.
They have an aspect of destruction porn in this movie. Like shit got destroyed. Lots of it.
Boston's fucking annihilated.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's like establishing shots that show you like how fucking crazy destruction, but you never get to actually feel the visceral quality and see it unfold. It's like all kind of like happens.
Well, it's either far
and you don't
away,
you don't really get to kind of like, I don't know.
Let me piggyback real quick before you get into your thoughts, Imran.
Yeah.
Is the 2014 movie, and then this sounds like I'm going to be completely bashing the film, and I'll get into some good stuff because there is a lot of good stuff too. But the 2014 movie did really well at just establishing kind of the shock and awe of like, and the scale. Like you looked at these things, you're like, these two monsters are just majestic, and they're fighting each other, and the fights were easy to follow. It was dark, but for the most part, they were easy to follow. You could follow the sense of like, the destruction. They didn't cut away too much from other stuff. Where this one, especially when they get to Boston, the camera is closer, so it's kind of like you can't really tell. A lot of shaky cam. Yeah, you can't really tell all, like, it wasn't pulled back enough to like get the sense of what's going on. And then anytime they cut to what that fucking family, I was just rolling my eyes. I'm like, I want to see these two monsters fight. I want to see Ghidorah, or I want to see Mothra and Rodan. So there was some, the filmmaking, it wasn't as great.
I think that would have solved a lot of problems because, yes, the characters suck and the humans suck, but I think if those moments were genuinely like entertaining and gripping, like you would forgive that so much more. But since they're kind of like, they're doing it, but you're like, yeah, but it's not really like gripping me. Then you're going to concentrate on how much you're annoyed that you're cutting back to these people.
I mean, it goes back to what you said, Anthony. A good story can carry anything, and you can have all the special effects in the world.
I'll say this: the story isn't that bad.
Yeah,
it's the storytelling that's bad.
Yeah, it's the character work that's bad. The storytelling, the story in and of itself is kind of in line with what a Godzilla film is. It's kind of wacky. It's kind of like, there's this rogue military group, and then there's a science group, and I do like the fact, like, this isn't it's been hinted at in the Japanese films, but I like the fact that there's all these different kaiju, but Godzilla is the clear alpha, and they all bow to him, and that there's this rivalry with King Ghidorah, who's foreign, and he's trying to be the rival. Like, that stuff has been kind of hinted at, but it works.
It's
like,
clear.
For me, it works, at least. Like, it's clear, like, these monsters all... Like, it's kind of like the real, like, animal kingdom. Like, there's 2 alpha lions that are battling it out, and everyone else is just trying to see who they should be following. I like that stuff.
Who's gonna be the alpha?
That part of the story really actually works for me.
Well, they have... Okay, let's talk about some good stuff. The world building, like, we were having a conversation, a bunch of Godzilla fans, Bilotti and I and everybody, about, like, you know, Godzilla and what it means and what it should be and whatever. And I was of the opinion that you got to create, like, when you have the original Godzilla, who was made out of the atomic, was a creature that was mutated by the atomic bomb and was wanted to destroy Japan, and he was the only one of his kind, and he's kind of like an abomination. That works in one way, but when you have a bunch of monsters, like, he's not an abomination anymore. He's like just, you know, not as like, he's not special. There's so many other monsters. So now you got to figure out how you're going to get. Why do these monsters exist? Where are they hiding? All that stuff. And I think that the American version did that brilliantly.
Yeah,
they're all like, they were here. They were born of a time that was when the world was very radioactive back in the ancient times, before ancient times. And, they went to hibernation because the earth, you know, went down in radiation. So they had to go closer to the core and they had to burrow under these things. And they were basically the hollow earth theory. You know, they're somewhere hidden in these, like, you know, the underneath the Earth's crust.
It's their planet. We're just living on it.
Yeah, so they're just there hiding out. You see them in Kong Skull Island. They built that. They come out of the ground and they fuck around with shit. So, like, they've established this really great idea for these monsters existing. They're not all hanging out on an island somewhere partying like they do in the Japanese ones. It makes no sense. You know, they're all, like, all over the world, and they're hibernating, and they only come out when, like, either they're in really close proximity to radiation where, like, it behooves them to, like, come out of hibernation to go get it.
Well, in, like, the 2014, the atomic test awoke Godzilla.
Yeah.
So in the 5 years since that movie, everyone knows that there's these monsters, and Monarch has bases around all the world.
They're monitoring it.
And you've established the Godzilla shield, which is Monarch, that has all these crazy bases, has these cool vehicles. You know, it's like the G.I. Joe of Godzilla.
Yep.
And that's really cool. And that could be even cooler if someone else was, like, really a visionary there. It's pretty cool as it is. And so that they do this great world building. So, like, the story in itself, okay, it's ham-fisted and whatever. You got this character that knows everything. You got this other character.
MacGuffin.
The person who invents the MacGuffin, like, flips it, and then the bad guy's reasoning, does that make any sense?
Well, you're not really sure what anybody's motivation really is, and it changes, and you're not sure who to root for.
Yeah, that's a little strange.
That's all circumstantial bullshit you don't even need to care about.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the job that Doherty's trying to do, let me establish a universe where Godzilla and all these monsters can exist. There's a reason for them fighting. Let's, you know, make it about animals, stuff that's actually in nature, animals fighting, alphas and stuff like that. So this is all, like, not genius, but very, very smart world.
Clever, yeah.
What I'm hearing is clearly, I will agree, like, Gareth Edwards is better at showing sense of scale in that movie. He's done it in Rogue One. He did it in Godzilla. It feels like the movie could have been a little more sophisticated, more in tune with the sophistication of 2014. Now, for me, like, you guys have watched all the Godzilla movies. I've watched 2014, Kong Skull Island. I fucking watched Shin Godzilla.
Oh shit!
It was entirely in Japanese. And then this one. And when it ended, I was like, well, you wanted fucking monsters? They give you fucking monster on monster action.
They give you a lot.
Oh, yeah. And it was, some of the shots were beautiful. I love the designs. I love how Mothra looked. I loved how Ghidorah, Rodan, all of it.
Great.
They all look great.
That's something else to be commended, too.
Yeah.
100%. I'll piggyback on that in a second.
Yeah, I mean, like, so they got that going for it.
Yeah.
All these monsters look great. and they're designed well. And they look cool for the, like, they have these really crazy designs the Japanese did. And then they went and they figured out how to make it cool to be in CG and shit. So it's like, they're like winning all these different things. So they're losing some major battles, but they're winning a lot of them too.
Yeah.
I almost felt like, do they even need the human characters? I would have been fine if there was no human characters.
Nah, you need human characters.
But the way they did it in this movie, it's like cutscenes in a video game. They were just there to thread the action scenes together.
There was one scene that was so unforgivable, and that's the one where what's her name? The doctor who makes the MacGuffin. What's her name?
Vera Farmiga.
Comes on and gives like a slideshow presentation.
Well, there was a lot of presentations already ready for these people in this movie.
That one was the most ludicrous.
Who's making these PowerPoints?
Like the other ones were at least in an environment where you would have a slideshow presentation. Yes. They're like at a government thing. So it's like, okay, that's what would happen. Yes. Okay, fine. Mm-hmm. But she literally calls them on a video phone and then somehow patches through a very well-edited montage of what's going to happen.
Well, somebody had to CGI this in that world. Like somebody mocked this up to specifications.
Well, let me comment real quick before we get too far away from when we were talking about the monsters. Another really good thing that they nail the designs, I think, for the most part. They modernize the designs enough where it's still a modern take, but it's still recognizable to a Toho Godzilla fan. I think another big thing they really nailed, at least in my opinion, is the personalities of these characters. Like King Ghidorah is a fucking ruler. Like that he is an alpha monster that is foreign from space. I love the Monster Zero stuff. I love that he's tagged as that and he's named Ghidorah, which means many heads.
Yeah.
Like Ghidorah is actually is taken from Hydra.
Oh, right.
That's the many-headed.
Yes.
Yeah. So I enjoyed Ghidorah's personality. I enjoy the fact that Godzilla is at least this take on him, that he's this benevolent king, like he's just in charge of balance. I enjoy that Rodan, in the Toho movies as well, he's kind of a punk.
Right.
Rodan, if I would describe Rodan, he's like a coyote or a fucking hyena. Like, he just fucking is like...
He goes with whoever's winning.
He's a troublemaker. Yeah. And he's like that in this fucking movie, too.
Because he does kind of switch sides.
Right. He switches sides. You never know what side this motherfucker's on.
Yeah.
He's always kind of just an asshole.
He's an opportunist, also. He's like, this side's winning, I'm going to go over here now.
He's just an asshole.
Yeah.
Rodan's always been fucking an asshole.
Yeah.
And then Mothra is very much the queen, and like she should be. I like her best when she's kind of overmatched, and they nail that as well. So I think they have a really good handle on the personalities of these monsters, and each monster has a personality, which is usually pretty hard to pull off when these are just gigantic CGI characters.
I mean,
like the monsters in Pacific Rim, especially Part 2.
Yeah.
Those monsters have no personality.
No, they're generic.
No. Yeah. They're generic monsters.
Yeah.
Like, for all the praise that Pacific Rim gets, even that first one, you can't tell me that any of those monsters have any distinct personality.
I even thought Godzilla had personality, where you like kind of see him smile and look over and smirk.
He does have a personality.
And this one I thought they showed it well.
And it's not cheesy, it's not like, wait, he's too human. No, he seems like a giant monster.
He is.
He just has his quirks. He has his things that he does.
He's a little chubby. He's a little wide at the bottom, but he felt like he was like an old retired boxer, like coming out like he's gonna be like, oh shit, I gotta fucking do this shit again. All right, I'll fucking save you guys. Coming out kind of tired, but he is the lonely god of the land and just trying to regain control. And
he's not lonely.
Well,
he's.
So this was 5 years. It was 5 years since that last movie where he was asleep this whole time, I guess.
No, I think they were just monitoring him underwater.
They're just watching him.
Yeah.
Because apparently there's molten lava under the water inside the earth. But
Earth,
it's Godzilla movie. But look, I was entertained. I was fully entertained watching these fight scenes. I will say though, it did a little bit of what John Wick did to me, is that there was so much fucking relentless monster action that at some point your eyes kind of glaze over, and it's just like
that's a director
too
thing.
Far.
Yeah,
that's a storytelling issue.
Yeah.
Like, I can tell you how many comics that I have that are drawn beautifully, but have crappy storytelling.
Right. Yep.
That have just amazing renderings of beautiful buildings, but like, the storytelling just doesn't grip you.
That was kind of what this was, because I thought...
And I think that he's one of those artists. He's a horror director.
Yeah.
And so he's into certain things. He's not really an action director.
While it looked great, there was a lot of it reminded me of Battle of Winterfell, where, it's a lot of dark scenes with shit flying around and you don't see moves.
It's a little bit overloaded. Yeah.
I can't remember a monster move. Like a move I wish he picked up like in the first movie, he picks up the train. The way it's shot so close up, you don't see any individual monster moves. I can't remember a cool move
There was
that
one.
he did.
There was one scene.
Yeah.
Where Godzilla. This happens in every Heisei movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm saying it right. Heisei.
Yeah.
Show 'em film. I think it happens a couple of times, and it happens in the very first fight. And this is where I audibly said yes in the theater.
Yeah.
Is when Godzilla's falling.
Yeah.
And he's still got the breath going.
Yeah,
it's still
funny.
And he
shooting.
does the falling breath shot.
Yeah.
That's out of Godzilla movies, every one. I was like, oh shit, he's definitely pulling that from a movie right there.
That was good.
And that isn't that a classic Godzilla thing that happens?
Oh,
He
yeah.
gets knocked down and on his way down he just gets you a fuck you beam as he goes down.
That's classic. There was actually, so I'll agree and run for the most part. There was a couple moves that I got.
Yeah, what's
the
another one?
The one where King Ghidorah wraps up Godzilla.
Oh, and picks him up.
That's cool. And then drops him.
Yeah,
That is straight from Godzilla versus Mecha King Ghidorah, when the Mecha King Ghidorah comes out and wraps up Godzilla, and then there are some things where they wrap the necks and they'd start biting him. That stuff is there's been a couple of different Toho films where Godzilla's getting bitten and his energy is being sucked out.
And I do remember him biting. He rips one of the Ghidorah's heads off.
They don't show that, yeah.
But I remember him biting him. But is that a thing too, where Ghidorah regenerates his heads?
No, that's a new thing.
That's a new thing.
I like that too, though.
Yeah.
There's a lot of. I mean, they're smart with a lot of the kaiju stuff.
Yeah.
Much smarter than the Toho stuff.
Yeah.
They do a really good. They've really put a lot of thought, or a lot of clever thought into okay, let's make these monsters credible.
Yeah.
Let's give them personality. Let's make sure that this world that they've built, it seems kind of intriguing and cool. Okay, cool. All that stuff is really good. I wish the film overall was better, but there's a lot of stuff for me that I really like.
The care clearly
there's a
went
lot
to
there for the fans,
monsters, and not the
there's
people.
so much there for the fans.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, we can get into. I mean, one of my favorite things is, the fact that they incorporated the Toho music.
The music was great. I really enjoyed the music.
The thing is, the music is good when they do the Toho stuff. When they go off the rails and do their own shit, that music sucks.
Which one's the Toho stuff?
Oh,
the chanting.
Yeah, the chanting.
The tribal stuff.
I mean, the when he comes out of the ocean after he's been fucking regenerated.
Yeah.
The shot when he walks in, when King Ghidorah's about to attack and he blows him away in Fenway Park, and he walks in with the fucking planes is an amazing use of the music. It was dun dun dun, and the planes are coming in.
Coming behind him.
Yeah,
badass.
That's fucking amazing.
You saw in the trailer, but
and the use of Mothra's music was well timed as well. I wish they would have used Rodan's music or King Ghidorah's music. I don't know. Did they use that stuff?
What happened to Mothra? How did she dies? How does she? I can't remember.
She gets blasted by.
She
Ghidorah.
takes the blast for Godzilla
From Ghidorah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just her essence falls on him.
And that ignites the meltdown mode.
I love when he was all red, and that was a fucking sick shot when you could see the red coming through.
That's a big Easter egg from Godzilla versus Destroyer.
That's right.
They did the same thing.
The thing is, they almost threw in too many Easter eggs.
There's so much fan service in this
because they're going for
it. But the thing, it shows to me that they only have this film. I think they only have it for 3 films, right? Because
they got the Kong one, and I think that's it,
right? Because the him turning molten like that. I mean, that was 26 movies in.
Wow.
By the time he turned like that.
That's his death. That's his death.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge thing, and they threw that in the second movie.
So Doherty clearly has probably seen all these Godzilla
He's seen
movies.
everything.
You can be sure that. And that's kind of cool. And I got, even not being a huge Godzilla fan, I got the sense that he was giving little tidbits for the guy. Because in the beginning, if you notice the protesters, there's a sign one guy's carrying, destroy all monsters.
Yeah.
I was like, that's an Easter egg. I know what that means.
All the test sites are years of when Godzilla films were released.
Mothra, it was like test site 61 or whatever, but it's the year those characters were introduced.
Yeah.
Which is a lovely like Avengers Endgame nod. Unfortunately,
they threw in a shit ton of Kong reference. I was almost like,
there's a lot of Kong.
I was almost like, this is too much Kong.
Yeah.
And like Kong, the last time we saw Kong, he was 100 feet tall in the 70s.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a threat yet.
How is he going to get, well, we don't know.
I'm trying to figure out how they're going to work in the Kong
Can
stuff.
I just talk about, look, so, yes, the monster fight was great, and were the characters shit? Yes, where you didn't really get to know any of them or be introduced or know why they were there. But
no one's completely likable or anything.
And there's nobody to connect to, and their motivations are changing. But someone had a great line. I think it was a Hollywood Reporter review. It's the cast is hilarious because it's made up of comfort food TV stars.
Oh,
if you think about it, hey, remember Game of Thrones? We got Tywin Lannister. You like Stranger Things? We got 11. You a fan of Friday Night Lights? We got Kyle Chandler. You like West Wing? Bradley Whitford's in the fucking movie. You like Ice Cube? We got his son. How did Ice Cube's character, Ice Cube Jr., survive? He just shows up. He never got killed. He's just spitting out one-liners. I thought it was hilarious. So it's just funny that they got and then you got Ken Watanabe, but Millie Bobby Brown.
Who do you think survives this? I mean, besides Millie Bobby Brown, like as far as into the next movie. So it's Kyle Chandler and Millie Bobby Brown are going into the next movie.
Dr. Ishiro is dead.
Yes. Dr. Serizawa.
Dr. Ishiro Serizawa is dead. Here's the weird thing. The movie starts kind of like Batman versus Superman, where they're like, damn you, Godzilla, you killed my son. And the wife's like, and the husband wants to kill Godzilla, and the wife's like, we should protect him. But it was very kind of BBS.
I mean, I can tell you who reprises their roles.
It's going to be on the IMDb, isn't it?
I
was confused. I thought that Kyle Chandler and the family was in the first movie for a second.
No, they're not.
But they weren't. They were just...
Kyle Chandler's going to be in this.
Oh, he's coming back.
Millie Bobby Brown, and then Zhang Zi.
Oh, Zhang Zi's coming back.
Oh, the Mothra girls.
Yes.
The Mothra girls.
The granddaughter.
They're twins.
Yeah, and that's a nice Easter egg there. I will admit, Chandler... kind of does manage to carry his role, but it is just hilarious how
his role is just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. He knows everything when he needs to know the right thing at the right time.
He's the perfect military strategist. He's the best at reading animals.
Yeah, really.
He has enough power where everyone just listens to him.
Yes.
For me, the most ridiculous thing when he was like, "I quit and I'm just going to leave." I'm like, "Dude, but you're on like
some fucking.
You're in the middle of nowhere. You're not going to be able to commandeer a plane."
Oil rig.
that for me was ridiculous.
Let's intimate his character. Well, from what we got in the movie,
Yeah.
I didn't read anything. I did read the Godzilla prequel graphic novel.
Oh, the prequel to this.
Yes, and basically,
What's that about?
He has a run-in with Muto Prime, and it gets into like the ancient Godzilla and how the ancients saw him as a savior and all that stuff. And basically, it's just an epic fight with Muto Prime, and basically, you find out that the Mutos are basically trying to use him as Godzilla as like something to lay their eggs in to keep the radiation so they could grow more Mutos. So when they're basically, it's a parasite. And that's why in the 2014, they found the Muto carcasses near a dead Godzilla skeleton.
Oh, kind of like an aliens thing.
Yeah, so that they were kind of growing inside of Godzilla, the other Godzilla that died. And then in that new radiation, pulse woke them up, and then they went over to and fucked up the plant. So, anyway, what was I saying? Forgot
the guy from Silicon Valley is in it.
We were talking about Kyle Chandler's character.
So Kyle Chandler, anyway, Kyle Chandler, his character is him and his wife were studying wildlife and echolocation and animals. And so you see him, he's shooting wolves and analyzing alpha packs and animal behavior. So they're animal behaviorists.
She knows how to work with sound waves and stuff to make the orca.
So they met working at Monarch, I guess.
Okay.
And they were together working at Monarch, and then the San Francisco thing. So they knew about Godzilla for a long time.
Before 2014
Before
movie.
even San Francisco happened, where they fight the Muto, and the Muto and him level that whole city, and then the kid gets killed in the process. So they were already working at Monarch and using their skills as animal people, like animal behaviorists and shit like that, scientists. So that's where his knowledge of what to do with Godzilla comes into play, because he knows animals and that's what he studies. So I don't know, maybe that's the reason, but all this other military, all of his military acumen, I don't understand. The only thing that I can think of is like, since Monarch is like the G.I. Joe of Godzilla, maybe they go through this like rigorous training, like to be in the FBI or whatever, that they learn all this stuff.
Monarch doesn't really seem to know what the fuck they're doing either, though, in a lot of this movie. And just, I don't know, like, who was the good guy, who was the bad guy. Charles Dance, this eco-terrorist, whatever, comes out of nowhere. You don't know anything about him. And then there's the big twist where the wife is actually, she called him. But why? Because she thinks, like, it makes no sense. She thinks releasing all the monsters, it's like a Thanos wipe out of existence, that once they destroy the Earth, new life will come out from this radiation. Like, radiation will promote.
She really,
like,
I'll try to explain. She thinks that by having the monsters out, that it'll create a better society. Like, it's better for the Earth.
People don't respect the Earth.
Right. But, and I don't think she's looking to completely wipe out the Earth.
Yeah.
I think she's just looking for like a balance, which she ends up being right, actually, because at the end, those clippings show that the Earth is better off.
But they just didn't.
But then she realizes that King Ghidorah is a parasite, and that's the problem.
And an alien.
And he's an alien. And is that canon to the Godzilla, that Ghidorah is an alien monster?
Yes.
Oh,
I mean, there's always different. Canon for Godzilla it depends on the movie, but he's mostly known as an alien. Yes.
Okay.
There's a wacky 91 series where he's from the future, and these little Dorats. It's fucking weird.
And then
you can't use that.
You can't use that one.
And then Millie Bobby Brown's character like just steals the MacGuffin, and nobody's watching her, and it's
terrible. I mean, the human characters are bad. It's literally like, I'm stealing this from Chris Stuckman.
Yes,
I like his reviews.
Yes,
but it was literally like they looked at Godzilla 2014. They looked at the complaints, and they were like, okay,
they did the opposite.
No, well, they looked at it and they go, okay, there wasn't enough monster action, so we're gonna put a ton of monster action in this. But I guess if we're gonna do a ton of monster action, then I guess we don't have enough time for humans, so let's just make them shittier than last time.
Yes, we can't.
At least last time we had Bryan Cranston. Now we have nothing to latch on with.
The first one had a good, relatable.
I swear,
human cast.
the guy Ken Watanabe.
Yes,
I think his only role in this film is just say Gojira.
Yeah,
Gojira.
to explain things. He's like, you better look off.
Everyone is there to explain things. There's not a real like. There's not a person that you latch onto, and you know what? That's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine if you are a hardcore Godzilla fan and you realize most of the Godzilla films, the humans kind of suck.
But can you make a sophisticated Godzilla movie that lands on both
the first one
aspects?
The first one is very sophisticated.
If I was going to do a Godzilla movie with the same architecture that they've built, I would do it from someone's first day at Monarch.
Oh.
All right? Because that way you get the person who's sitting in the audience is that person who's going who's getting all of a sudden okay, we're going to tell you what's really going on. There's fucking monsters, and there's one called Godzilla, and he's under the water right now just waiting for a reason to come up.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
And then you just follow that person. He doesn't have to have a personal strife that you need. He is just, kind of like he meets Serizawa, he meets all these other people, and then you just follow this person throughout all the movies. And then not only that, but then the family of who's in Monarch, which is our, shield for Godzilla, or G.I. Joe for Godzilla, they become the main cast of characters, and we come back for them, and they're trying to do that, but they're now we have this family dynamic, like they're stealing that from Jurassic Park. All right, let's make a family dynamic, and then they have a little issue and whatever, and let them work out their issues while fucking Godzilla and all these monsters are fighting. I don't know. It's like such Hollywood bullshit.
It is, and it does a little bit the same thing that Kong Skull Island did. Is that there's so many characters that there's not nearly enough time to flesh out any of them.
It is similar to Kong Skull Island in that sense. What Kong Skull Island gets much has a better grasp on. It's not like 100% better. But they had a much better grasp on just showing you the monster fights.
Yeah,
those were great
because you could see the moves. Like there was cool moves.
It was good.
Yeah.
The point I was trying to finish was that If you are releasing this, though, to an American audience, the human characters do matter. You can't just be like, oh, it's a Godzilla film. What did you expect? No, you're trying to make a lot of money here.
Yeah.
Trying to make new fans.
Right.
Yeah.
The average American viewer thinks Godzilla is a joke.
Yeah.
They might be coming around a little bit more, but they still are like, but it's Godzilla. Like, you're kind of a loser if you like Godzilla. Like, you need to still put the care in on all ends of the movie.
But what about Godzilla hardcore fans? Is this enough for them? Do you think? Like, what are you looking for in a Godzilla movie as a big Godzilla fan?
I think the hardcore fan is going to like it.
Yeah,
I think they do a really good job with the monsters for the most part. They do a good job of updating these things while still making them true to some aspect of what Toho built.
I just think, for me, all the things that they did, they did their best. But at the end of the day, for me, this movie doesn't really matter that much. What matters is it makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like what's in the movie for me, for whatever. What matters to me is that this becomes a tentpole and they keep making movies where they can eventually get it right. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes when you only have one shot to do it, like, for example, when Gareth, whatever his last name is, made 2014, like, we never knew if it was going to be, until it made money, that it was going to be more.
Yeah.
And this movie, I'm like, okay, they threw everything into all of these previews, all of these trailers, and if people got to show up to the theater to see this. And it's a good enough movie. It's for like a kid to enjoy. Like a kid can sit through this without being bored.
It's a great popcorn summer blockbuster. Now, the trend recently, like, it may have a shot because the trend recently is that these big dumb movies make a lot of money. So if you look at the Jurassic World and the Venoms and all these movies that you think should make money.
Fallen Kingdom more than this, Imran, or did you like it less?
See, that's a good. I think I like this better because of seeing all the kaiju and the monster fights.
I think this intrigues me more.
Yeah, it was entertaining for sure. I had a lot of fun, and
I still think that the director of Fallen Kingdom is a better director as far as how to direct these set pieces
and the human parts and tying it together. But there are parts of this movie that are majestic. It is a spectacle on the highest level, and they nail that. But then it does kind of just go overboard and gives you too much to where you start.
I don't think it's too much. I think that's wrong.
Okay.
I think people who can't put their finger on what's wrong with it think it's too much. I just think it's not. What's on screen isn't engaging you enough, so you glaze over when you're watching it.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's like you have to be immersed. When you're in it, like when you're watching Avatar, there's nothing but CG bullshit going on.
Yeah.
But you're in it, and you want to shit on James Cameron all you want.
Yeah.
When people are riding those fucking things, those fucking pterodactyls, you're in. You feel like you're there.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're seeing it and you're experiencing it. You're pulled in.
Yeah, that's the.
So no matter how long the scene goes on, you're in for the ride. These things are like, it's almost like someone blasting heavy metal in your face.
Yeah. It gets loud real quick.
And you're like, I get it. Okay, let's turn it off now. So it's like, it's too much. There's just not, the melody isn't there to grab you. So it's like, there's just it's a directorial problem more than I think even a script problem, an acting problem, anything. It's make the beats work.
Yeah, there was no kind of pacing or anything. It was just nonstop. Also,
it moved. The movie moved. Yeah. It's just it kept going, and it wasn't like there was scenes where I'm like, okay, I don't care about this. Let's get to the monster fights. Let's go.
Right.
But it wasn't anywhere near as bad as 2014, where like you felt gypped,
right?
Where they tore the camera away from you.
But the big thing though, 2014 is when they did, and it's the last 8-10 minutes. But when they do get to that battle,
it's so worth it.
It's so gripping. It's so gripping. Where these are like, they're cool, but they're not. You're not fully in. You're not like, oh, like, and they do a terrible job of getting you invested in the fight. because they cut away. It's too close. You don't sometimes know what's going on. You're cutting to these human characters that you've built up that you don't care about. So I think it's a mixed bag for me as well.
I think this goes in. This is all done in previs, by the way. All of this stuff is done like before they even shoot a lick of film. This is all figured out by the people doing these action pieces. They're making them in 3D models, and they're choosing the shots. So that choice to make the shots like that was done early on, and I think that's not a result of we couldn't get Godzilla to stand there. No, you have like a computer that can make them do whatever.
There are beautiful frames though that look like paintings that you want to put up on the wall.
They do. I'm telling you, just like a comic book artist who's really good at drawing.
Splash pages. He can do great splash pages.
Like a Rob Liefeld. He can't tell a story to save a fucking life, but he can, every once in a while do a splash page.
Does a good Godzilla movie need to have a message about man and nature and the state of the world?
Well, it does.
And I think it does. What do you guys think about them kind of replacing the atomic reason with an ecological reason to kind of update it, I guess, right?
What do you mean atomic? Oh, from the beginning?
Because we're probably
it's more about
ecologically it's better to have these
instead of the nuclear.
They're kind of the
option.
balance to the humans as well.
Yeah. I mean,
because humans are ruining the earth in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of more current.
Yeah.
Because does
it work? I think it kind of works.
The environment's going at such a accelerated rate, into shit.
Well, I think the problem for me is the message works only at the end when you're like, oh, that's the message. Because throughout the entire film,
it's unclear.
The message is so muddled.
Yes, it's very unclear.
So that you don't really see it until the end. You're like, oh, like it was because these monsters will bring like better crops, better the disease will end, that you can study them. It's all sorts of great ecological benefit.
They break the system so we can think of a new system that's
right.
better. No one wants to sit there and go, we don't want to redo it. We have it. It's working the way it is, so fuck it. Who cares if it kills a bunch of people? But if you were to wipe out the system, you'd go, all right, now we can start over and make it better. And that sometimes something like that will cause you to rebuild better.
Yeah. It's very Thanos-like. But
you had a question though about it. Does every Godzilla film need to have that? No, not every Godzilla film. Literally, Godzilla has taken on. There is no. I mean, there is the original, of course.
Yeah.
But there is no definitive itineration other than the original. Sometimes it's a monster fight. Sometimes they have something to say about a force of nature. Sometimes he's the embodiment of all the dead souls in the Japanese war, all the souls that the Japanese killed.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like Shin Godzilla, he's analogy to the Fukushima disaster and how Japan doesn't know how to react to things in a timely manner. He's been different things every fucking movie.
But even Shin, at least it was a satire on bureaucracy and government and nuclear power. This one has nothing.
This is better than Shin. I don't like Shin.
It's better, but I'm saying at least they had a thing. They're like,
Shin is so goddamn boring.
It is. It's just nothing but people sitting in war rooms and offices.
Shin has a better narrative. It just has a shittier version of Godzilla.
Yeah.
In almost every single way. And it's got that terrible, like, if you're going to cast someone to be an English speaking person, like, at least do that or dub it in, right? So that was like very egregious, but this movie has a lot. It felt like to me a show a film or a Heisei film in how it was like, it was a sci-fi movie that you have to kind of be along for the ride, and it's gonna do crazy cheesy stuff, but it never felt super cheesy,
right?
So they did toe the line there.
Was the dialogue cringy to anybody? Like, do you like why Bradley Whitford goes Zilla, or the one guy goes God and he goes Zilla? I mean, that's not a little cheesy.
Yeah,
it is totally,
It's a little cheesy.
I know they do. I would say,
but his characters were doing stupid shit the whole time.
Movie, yes, that was him.
Yeah, so it fit in with his character, I guess.
And I
would say, let me just get in real quick, Ruggs. I would say that it's more closer to Heisei era, because Heisei towed they never got too cheesy. Where Showa got real fucking.
Was
weird.
Heisei the middle one or the third one?
It's now considered the middle one.
Oh, it's the middle one.
Heisei was like where they treated the characters real seriously.
Yeah.
Whereas in Showa, you had Godzilla rocking in on his tail and flying. Heisei never had that amount of ridiculousness.
Well, and that's the difference I felt with the 2014 movie. Tried to be really serious. The opposite end of the spectrum of this. And it worked.
They're still figuring out the formula.
Yeah,
they haven't completely figured. The first one, like you mentioned, is very serious.
Yeah.
They try to they do a great job of staging the action. This one is a little more goofy. It's more overloaded, but they do a really good job of like giving the monsters personalities and nailing all that stuff. So they still haven't completely figured out the formula. I don't know if they're going to nail it in the next one. Even Kong Skull Island doesn't nail the formula. It's good monster action, but the human characters, there's just way too fucking many.
There's too many.
I think that Kong Skull Island is actually the best of these movies.
Oh shit!
I would agree with you.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Because, when we reviewed it, we shit on it because, the human characters were not the best, and but the tone of it was pretty serious.
Yes, it has the right balance between these two movies.
The action, the way that the action was shot was amazing.
That's all. Kong looked great.
The way Kong, he got the tree, and he's he stood there, and he just stood there for a moment. You're like, all right, the shit's about to go down.
Yeah.
And then when he grabbed that thing and put it around his hand, you see it, and you're like, what he's gonna do with it. He's gonna use it as a fucking
stuff. Yes.
So it was great.
Yeah.
And when the girl fell off the cliff and he goes diving to catch her.
Yeah.
There was moments of beauty in that.
And even the big sun behind him, the whole apocalypse now.
Yeah.
The Vietnam setting was really good.
Yeah.
I think, and there was we said that the director did some great stuff.
Yeah.
So,
who did that one?
That was, Wingard, Adam Wingard.
Was that him? No, I think Adam Wingard's
Jordan
doing...
Vogt Roberts.
Oh,
There
Voight Roberts.
Right. Adam Wingard's doing Godzilla vs. Kong.
Oh, he is. But Doherty is writing the screenplay for Godzilla vs. Kong. So where Doherty, because he wrote and directed this. Yeah, he's.
I'm seeing on Wikipedia Terry Rossio.
Well, if you go to IMDb, Michael Doherty's writing credits include Godzilla King of the Monsters and now Godzilla vs. Kong. But he's not directing. So it may help that he's not directing, but still the screenplay, the Godzilla parts, the monster parts were great.
I think he should produce all the movies. I think he's got a really good vision.
Yeah.
I just don't think he's the greatest action director.
Yeah.
He might have just been over his, it may have been too much for him coming. He's only directed 8 movies, so.
Well, I think he made some decisions that I don't think it got away from him.
Yeah.
I just think he made some decisions. I don't know. Maybe it was a cost saving. There's could be a lot of factors. Maybe it was too expensive to do what he wanted to do, and he had to scale it back. I don't know, but he made these decisions to do these shots this way and to film it this way.
I just wish the camera would have, like you said, would have settled down a little bit and just showed us.
There's a couple of shots where it does, and it's great.
Yeah.
But
then it starts going crazy again.
It's not enough. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. Because what they do in this movie a lot is that they cut back and forth between the people and the action and the monsters and shit. So it's constantly going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And in 2014, they did the same thing. But they let it breathe just a little bit longer on the shots. The shots didn't change as much.
What, dude, this time, every time it goes to the human people, you just don't give a shit. And I was confused. I was like, are they on that big plane now? How big is this plane? Oh, it's big enough to put another plane inside it? Wait, where are they now? Are they still on the plane? They're on an oil rig? What the fuck is going on? It was,
you're in these interiors.
Really didn't know what the fuck was. They were just generic interiors.
Well, let me comment though. You mentioned some good epic shots. The shot where there's a lot of good ones. The Rodan flying after the planes is great. When
the
Rodan
whole
goes
volcano
into
thing is great.
That's one of the greatest scenes in the whole movie.
Rodan and Monster Zero colliding.
Yeah.
The shot of when Godzilla first comes out in Antarctica and you have King Ghidorah flap his wings out to make himself look gigantic, and they pan away and you see how gigantic King Ghidorah is compared to Godzilla.
How tiny the plane is in the middle. Yeah,
and you're just. There's a lot of really good stuff. A lot of really beautiful shots.
When Rodan flew over that city and you just saw the shockwave destroy everything, I was like, "Holy shit, dude! This is some fucking serious destruction." It was really well done. I love that shit.
They nail a lot of the stuff. They nail a lot of good stuff.
I like the one. The one thing that stuck out that I loved was that fighter pilot who ejected right into Rodan's mouth. That was
we
great.
had an audible in our arena.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Theater.
People did cheer though when Godzilla would do shit. People were reacting in the theater. It was really fun. Like you forget how much people love Godzilla, despite the bullshit human characters.
Let's talk about it. Audience, like, how was your audience, and what did they have? Was there applause breaks? What was going on in that?
Ours was, so me and Imran saw it together. Ours was surprisingly full.
Yeah.
Imran, when did you buy the tickets?
Like a few days, maybe 4 days earlier.
Yeah, and it was empty?
It wasn't empty, but it wasn't that full.
Very descriptive.
Yeah.
So,
it wasn't like wide open.
No, I mean, our audience clapped.
What percentage you had there? About 80%?
Yeah. Other than the front rows.
It was the
about
IMAX
80%.
too, yeah.
Our audience clapped at bits. There wasn't wild cheering, but our audience clapped a few times, and then by the end of the movie, they clapped.
Yeah, they were cheering.
And you had people like saying, "Oh shit, that's cool! Yeah, come back!" Yeah.
Rex, what about you? Anything happen?
Like, I want to say something, but I don't want to seem racist.
Oh, then probably don't say it. Because when you say I don't want to seem racist, it's going to be racist.
Because I'm going to point out people's race.
Okay.
But we had like 2 legit Japanese guys sitting in front of us.
Okay.
And they fucking loved the movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, if they love it, then I'm making me love it even more. And I don't know, is that weird to say that? But like, I was like really happy that like, okay, this is from their country. This is their,
well,
what
I would
represents
imagine a Japanese Godzilla fan, like, you've never seen Godzilla like this before. Like, you've never seen shit like this.
Well, the fact that they're like approving of it and like into it, it was great. It was just great. And they were like older dudes. They were like in their 50s.
I mean, I do think they did respect the monsters, and that was the most one of the important things. And the argument of like, do you even need human people? It didn't hurt the enjoyment of the movie for me that the human
you
characters
cannot make
were that
an
shitty.
entire Hollywood film with no human people.
Sure, you can. Why not? Just show me fucking Godzilla make expressions, and then
this is why you don't make films.
You show me just TV. No,
are you serious?
I didn't need it. I just wanted to see the fucking monsters.
Of course, but then the movie's going to be 20-30 minutes.
It was still
make the movie 20 minutes shorter.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I thought out of the runtime, like there was mostly monster fighting.
I'm going to call you. I have to call you out on your bullshit. That's absurd.
I think you could cut all the people out of this movie and then just.
You could cut these people out, but you're going to need people.
He's being silly.
No, he's.
How about just TV news anchors? Like, if the people are just exposition, just show me a fucking news short that's explaining things, and let's move on.
Oh God,
I don't know. Let me ask. Let me ask you this: there were 17 Monarch base stations hiding or watching 17 different kaiju. We got to see some of them. I have an article here from Screen Rant that gives names to these. Were these existing monsters or were these new monsters?
No, these are all new. They're like, there's spins on old Toho monsters, but not really.
Yeah, most of them are new. The only one that you recognize actually is one of the Mutos.
Yeah, the Mutos are from 2014.
That's Muto Prime, yeah.
And the Mutos were created for this legendary version, right?
Right.
So the one under the oil field in Texas, they're calling Scylla, Titanus Scylla.
Is that Scylla or Scylla?
Scylla? I don't know how you say it. So it's like a spider like.
Yeah, between Scylla and Charybdis.
Charybdis. Behemoth, Titanus Behemoth was that Titan with the big horns, the woolly mammoth.
Yeah, that's from the Bible.
Okay, so that's a new creation for this movie.
Yes.
Methuselah was the big mountain one, Titanus Methuselah.
That's also from the Bible.
That is a Bible name. And then and then Kong, although he doesn't appear, they talk about him a lot. So okay, so they give you some new monsters and give you the classic monsters. Now let's talk about the credit scene and the post credit scene, because I don't think we've seen the last of Ghidorah.
No,
even though he appeared to be blasted at the very end. He could regenerate,
or they could do the Mecha King Ghidorah.
Well, my question when the movie ended, Anthony was sitting there, and then I was like, the fuck happened to the British guy? Where's Charles Dance? And we got our answer in the mid-credits scene where he is buying the decapitated head of Ghidorah to do something with. What can he do with that?
I told you at the theater, I think that's going to be the catalyst for Godzilla and Kong to team up. Is they're making a new monster, or they're making a Mecha King Ghidorah.
And they have to team up to stop it. And will they fight
I think
initially?
that maybe...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think that maybe Ghidorah will, they're going to try and regenerate him. and he's gonna be like a different form of Ghidorah. Like he'll be like a fucking super steroid Ghidorah. Like he'll be like Ghidorah with like he'll be red and he'll have fucking, you know, crazy.
I mean,
shit
he looked fucking great, dude. That was
new powers.
It might even get to the point where he's commanding all the other kaiju, and their Godzilla and Kong are teamed up to fight them off.
I mean, I totally bought that he was the alpha kaiju at the moment because he was terrifying, commanding lightning. A giant, like he shows up as like a hurricane storm on the radar. I love that.
That stuff's good too.
Yeah, I loved all that radar stuff, the map stuff. They're like, how can he be in that storm? And then they're like, oh, he is the storm.
Right.
It's like, it's fucking badass. Also, we did see a character from Skull Island. And now I had thought, remember, our rumor was Charles Dance was playing Tom Hiddleston's character all grown up. That didn't pan out. That's not him. But for a brief second, you see actor Joe Morton, who appears as a scientist. Joe Morton was Miles Dyson in Terminator 2. He's Cyborg's dad in Justice League. Joe Morton is playing Dr. Houston Brooks, who is the character played by Corey Hawkins, Dr. Dre, in Kong Skull Island.
Well, I would not. There's
no way to figure that out.
There's no way to figure that one out.
Yes.
Well, that's a hidden one.
Very hidden one.
I want to get into the credits real quick because it shows like the world getting better. But
I love that part.
The thing I was like, is like now all the monsters are converging on Skull Island.
Yes. They said something about there's a disturbance underneath Skull Island, and they're all going there.
I'm just wondering, because they already went the route of Alpha versus Alpha.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could go another Alpha versus Alpha battle, but it seems like that's, you're retreading old water here, retreading the road here on this, because we just saw an Alpha battle.
And how is Kong going to
why
get
is
big?
that? Why is...
I think that Godzilla's going to go looking for Ghidorah and tracking him to Skull Island, and Kong's not going to have it.
Kong's like, what are you doing here? This is where I hang out.
I'm just like, Kong is also an Alpha, but you've already played that card of Alpha versus Alpha thing.
Yeah, but I think it's up to the individual kaiju to decide whether to bow down.
Well, who should bend the knee?
Yes. So if Kong is like, no, this is my fucking territory, you get the fuck out of here. And Godzilla's like, no, I'm here looking for some shit. And he's like, well, we're going to have to fucking fight then. And so Godzilla takes him up on it. They fight. And then eventually the other thing rears its ugly head, and then they could divert their attention to that.
I'm curious to see how it plays out, because they've actually done a decent job of figuring out how all these monsters play off each other and what the storyline and why they're coming out now. And
it makes sense. Yeah.
It all makes sense so far.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this question. If you're Mike Doherty.
Yeah.
And you put this movie out, and with all the best intentions, and you worked hard on it, and you really tried, and you get this Rotten Tomatoes score, and you're, obviously our sentiments are probably echoed by a lot of different fans as well, or different people who've seen this movie. Some people just love it blindly, but every review I've heard has always had some caveats about certain things, like the characters, that whole exposition dump thing that they've been doing with these characters. Like, everybody's mentioned that. All the reviews I've heard have mentioned that.
Yep.
So, what do you do? Like, I mean, what do you do as a studio legendary? What do you do? Do you think about, okay, well, they obviously reacted to 2014, not enough Godzilla, throw a lot of Godzilla on there. But, like, what do they do? Where do they go from here?
I think actually they're in a position where what they're going to do is they can't do anything, because they're already in the midst of filming Godzilla Kong.
Yeah. And
it's coming out next year. So I think they might even be done.
Well, they're probably still doing CG stuff.
But I think they're on the track where their plan is in place and the movies are already in motion. So I don't think there's much, because even with, if they wanted to, I don't think they can make another Godzilla film, right? There was 3.
No, they can't. I think what they're doing is, well, if this movie flops hard, I don't think it will. I think it'll not do the greatest, but it won't. I don't think it'll completely flop. I don't think it'll generate money, but not to what they want. So I feel like that if they want to save it, they have to have the promise of something amazing, and that trailer's got to be fucking amazing.
So 2014's Godzilla took home $529 million worldwide. Skull Island 2017 made $566 million.
It had better legs
worldwide. This one they're saying will be the least out of the three. It will probably not make as much as 2014.
I'm concerned about that, but I do think there is still a lot of cachet to throwing Godzilla versus King Kong.
Oh yeah,
movie.
that's a whole. Now you have a whole nother aspect of this that
so
you can get people's attention.
Still might be enough to get people in the door.
So look, Adam Winograd is directing Godzilla vs. Kong. It's not Doherty. Doherty's still writing. I think the lesson you take from this, if I was them, is let's try to balance it out a little bit more. And like we said, closer to Kong Skull Island balance. Like you gave everyone the monster fights. Now maybe you pull that back a little and focus on the characters. I don't know.
The tough thing with Godzilla vs. Kong, for me, is that this is a movie where you just want to see Godzilla and Kong.
Yes.
Like the human characters have to be either really engaging or else you're not going to give a fuck and you're always going to be anticipating Godzilla or Kong.
Well, the good news is if we have Millie Bobby Brown
She's
and
back.
her dad coming back, you don't have to explain them. They're already kind of been established.
There's a Skarsgård in it. Alexander.
Oh yeah, he's the guy that. Oh yeah, he's like the big guy. He played Tarzan or something.
Yes. Did he play Tarzan?
Yes.
Yes, you're right.
Skarsgård. Oh, he was
True Blood.
Legend of Tarzan and Zoolander 2 and a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Skarsgård and Sarsgaards.
He's kind of Thor-like.
You also got
he's Thor-like.
A familiar face, Jessica Henwick.
Oh, Jessica Henwick's in it, and Z Zhang return, and Janai Guerrera rumored.
I don't think she's in it.
Brian Tyree Henry. But how are they going to make Kong as big as Godzilla is my other question.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
just
matter.
do it.
Yeah,
No,
they just do
it
it.
just
they'll
is.
They'll just throw away
It's
that
been 30
he grows.
years.
Yeah.
Well,
it doesn't matter.
So the other stuff I loved in the credit scene is how it kind of did what, like, remember in the first Planet of the Apes, you saw in the credits the virus spread. Like, I love that. And they kind of did this here. And there was a hilarious shot. There was one headline that said, Titan's waste turns out to be very valuable resource. I was like, oh shit. They're fucking either they're using it as manure or they're eating Titan shit. Like, it turns out Titan shit is good for you. And it helps. And I like that you could see them living together and they showed all these other kaiju around the world kind of coexisting. And then it built up to the Skull Island thing, and then that one drawing of Kong versus Godzilla on the wall was pretty sick too. I was like, oh shit, show me that. Show me that now. All right, look, let's rate it, rank it. Give me a number. Where does it go? Ruggs, let's start with you.
Well, out of the three MonsterVerse films already, I think I like as entertainment value.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw Kong Skull Island as the movie that I watched the most of.
Okay.
Because I only watched the last 20 minutes of G14.
Okay.
I don't need to sit through anything else because that's all you're really gonna get. Yeah. That's the real meat of the movie is where the two Mutos meet up in San Francisco and Godzilla shows up and then you're off to the races. Yeah. And that 20 minutes of film it's
just like Titanic.
Watch.
Just start watching when the fucking boat hits the iceberg.
Kong Skull Island, I'll actually watch the whole movie.
Oh, I've only seen that once. I have not seen that again since we watched it.
I mean, it's good enough. It moves along enough where you can it's fun to watch. And it's fun to watch Kong do his thing. He eats octopus.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
That's great. He scratches his balls.
This movie is probably, I'll put it before G14 and I'll probably watch it more than G14 in its entirety.
Sure.
I'll probably fast forward less through this movie because there's more beats that I'll watch. With that said, I still think that the action G14 is better. So that's my ranking of like the movies as far as entertainment value.
Yeah.
As a score, I'm going to give it like a 7.
Okay.
So I feel like it's above average for the general viewer. For the Godzilla fan, if you're really a fan in the fan service, I might bump it up to an 8, but I think it's about a 7. If you're just going to be a no nonsense, objective, it's a 7.
Okay, Anthony.
All right.
What's the number? Where does it rank for you?
I have a tough time ranking this in terms of where it ranks, and because I like and dislike all three films.
Yeah.
I still think Godzilla 2014, and I'm biased because I'm a Godzilla fan, that fight at the end is the best.
Yeah.
The best.
Yes.
I mean, when he ramps up and shoots the breath for the first time is an all-timer.
But the way that it's edited.
Right, yeah, it's perfect. It's perfectly done. I would say this might be third, but then there's some things that I really like about the character, the character work with the monsters. So it's tough for me to even. I'm still trying to formulate what the order is of those three. So I don't have an answer, unfortunately. As far as a number ranking, I'm lower than Ruggs. I'm gonna go 5.5 or 6. Yeah.
Oh shit!
Because there's a lot of it's still above average, but it's just barely above average for me. I like the character work with the monsters. There's some beautiful stuff. They're incorporating the music. I mean, when I'm sitting and the credits are rolling, they're playing
the music,
Toho
great.
music, and it feels epic.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this is unbelievable. This is stuff I was listening to as a kid.
Yeah.
I would be like dun 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 dun, and walking around the house, and I can't believe this is fucking being played on a mainstream movie theater.
That was stuck in my head for a while afterwards. It's great.
But the character work is just so bad. That for me, it's I'd go 5.5, 6.
I
don't think it's going to grip the mainstream.
No?
I'm very concerned.
You don't think we'll have legs?
I'm just concerned. I'm just concerned about the negative reviews that are out, because there's a lot of negative reviews.
There's a lot of them, and that's going to turn a lot of people away, and they won't even give this movie a chance because of that 40%. Unfortunately, for me, while I do feel 2014 is more a better, competently put together movie, this movie was hella entertaining for spectacle. For spectacle's sake, I'm sitting most of the movie with my mouth open going, holy crap, look at all this shit going on. So it's kind of a wash where 2014 had great human characters and it had great Godzilla, just not enough of it. This one had amazing monster fights and shit human characters, kind of evens it up. But Ruggs just fucked me up about Skull Island, because now Skull Island does seem to have that balance.
This is classic.
I would wanted to give it a 7.5 number. I was 7.5 sheer entertainment value. I would definitely watch the monster fights again. But I don't know.
We will be watching it again, by the way, me and Imran in 40X.
And Rugboy.
Yeah, I'll be watching it a couple more times. Yeah.
Yes, we'll bring you our...
we'll have 40X thoughts later.
We'll have 40X thoughts next week, and I will let you know who to thank for that. It's very cool, very exciting. I can't... It's hard for me to rank it amongst the three, and I kind of want to watch Skull Island again, because that may top this, but... Look, visually fucking a feast for the eyes, and really well done in terms of the monster fights. Had some problems, yes, but still had a lot of fun.
Your thoughts on this are so you don't even have a path. You're just saying things.
It's just all over.
I'm talking, but I'm not saying anything. Because you agreed with us that the monster fights were too close, and now you're saying they're epic and they're
they are epic.
It really is a very fucking mindfuck of a movie to try and wrap your head around, because there's great things and then there's things that fucking fuck it up.
There's great the way I would describe it is if you stop a scene, it would make for a great comic book panel.
Yes.
Right.
But in motion it doesn't always work.
And then overall it's just a little thin. It's like junk food. But I love junk food. It's really tasty fucking junk food. Will it be memorable? I don't know. Is it going to have
food
legs?
analogy?
Yeah. Give me the food analogy.
I forgot it.
Oh no. It's like when you go to the restaurant, there's no table and you got to hold the food in your lap and eat it. No, I don't know. All right.
I did have a great analogy at one point. And I forgot it.
Listen, we will have more thoughts, and with G-Fest coming next month, I'm sure you guys will be talking about this at G-Fest, and it'll be great to see everyone.
I'm curious to see what the G-Fest crowd thinks of it.
You want to know what I think about this? Is that the G-Fest crowd's probably going to be all over the place, but I think that the more people watch it, I'm hearing that people like it more.
Oh,
that their initial expectations are down,
yeah,
and they're able to just enjoy the movie for what it is. And I'm hoping that when I see it again, it does that. And hopefully when you guys see it again, it does that. Or maybe you're going to hate it more. Who knows?
Well, look, if you're a Godzilla fan, you want this movie to do well, buy 2 tickets when you go, even if you're not going with anybody. Just fucking give them the money. Let's end this here. Would you guys recommend this movie?
I would recommend it to somebody who doesn't know shit about movies.
okay, I don't know.
Like,
if that's a good thing.
like a dumb person or like a kid.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, go see it. You'll love
I
it.
think kids would love this.
Like a kid that's like 12 years old they'll fucking love the shit out of this
What
movie.
about you, Anthony? Would you be embarrassed or not to have to recommend this movie?
I wouldn't be embarrassed.
Okay.
I would recommend it with the caveat of you're going in to see a summer blockbuster.
I'd be like, do you like Michael Bay movies?
Yeah, it is.
Well, this movie's for you.
Yeah, it is. It is Michael Bay-esque fucking
a
level.
little bit. I don't think it's as frenetic as Michael Bay.
Yeah.
No.
Michael Bay's Transformer shit is terrible.
You can't tell what's going
That's
on.
what it reminded me of. There was all this great fucking effects, but then you can't tell what's going on and you don't care.
Yeah.
So.
But it's still epic in the sense that, like, I've never seen these characters on screen this way. And
Even here, just one little thing I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Even like the way they designed King Ghidorah to move around, I was like, wow, that's really clever. Like him walking around on his wings and like kind of looking like a snake going through the city. But then he like gets on his hind legs to like look intimidating. Like, well, they really thought this through.
the heads didn't get along. Like
they all had different personalities.
They would attack each other. Like, shut up, you.
Yeah.
So the attention to detail on the monsters was great.
Fantastic.
Doherty clearly is a Godzilla fan, no doubt about it. So,
100%.
yeah. Next year, March 2020, Godzilla versus Kong.
I want more Mothra.
You know
I
what?
never thought I'd say.
He either needed to be a producer or he needed someone to help him out. Like he was almost.
It's kind of like a Zack Snyder deal here.
No, it's not. It's not like that. It's like being too much of a fanboy.
Oh, okay.
You know, where you're like, I want to sneak in everything.
Yeah.
But then you don't have someone being like, okay, but let's still make this an awesome film.
Yeah, something needs to hold all this together.
Right.
And it doesn't. It's very thin. It's a thin piece of string. Barely holding all this together. All right, good stuff. Great Godzilla Geek Out. That'll do it for this week. Gang, thanks for checking us out. Rugs, where can the people find you online?
You can find me online at Really Rugboy on Twitter.
Definitely give them a follow. Show notes for this episode at jockandnerd.com/277. It's got links to everything we talk about, how to get in touch with the show, how to subscribe, how to support, how to donate, all the fun stuff. And, you can follow us on Instagram at Jock and Nerd, Twitter at Jock and Nerdcast. And as always, if you like the show, tell a friend. If you have a Godzilla friend, share the show. We have a lot of great Godzilla shows in the feed. Spread the geekery. Thank you for listening to the Jock and Nerd podcast. My name is Imran.
My name's Anthony.
He's the Jock.
He's the nerd.
We'll peep you next time.
Well, it's big and terrible. More frightening than I ever thought possible.
This new Godzilla is unfriendly, and he's going to destroy your country. There's nothing you can do about it.
No, nothing.
Zilch.